Yeah. Okay, let me just sort this. That's good. So yeah, no, I was talking about just sort of almost like standing up for a point in my life where I felt like I had to stand up.
That
for
you
the right.
stand up or you don't.
Yeah. You were talking about, what was it?
Yeah, the thing I was going to say is that I think, so I got arrested in July, which I don't know if you know about the Trayvon Martin case.
No, but tell me what that's about.
Trayvon Martin, was a case it's been decided now. George Zimmerman is this guy he killed Trayvon Martin, who was a black teenager, in public, basically for no reason. Trayvon Martin didn't have any weapons. He was acquitted. They said that he was defending himself, which seems unlikely. Anyway, but everybody thought that George Zimmerman was going to get convicted because he killed a kid. I mean, he basically killed a kid in public.
Yeah.
Like, Trayvon Martin was 17, so maybe he was taller than George Zimmerman, but he was 17. Like, he was a child. And he got acquitted on the night of my dad's birthday, which is July 11th.
Whoa.
And so we were all at the birthday party.
Okay.
And my dad works with the NAACP in North Carolina, and so all these NAACP people were there, and everybody just like freaked out, and it was this really communal kind of moment about that. And I had been thinking about getting arrested. We've been having these weekly protests in North Carolina every week about basically the conservative legislative agenda in a lot of different ways. But I had been thinking about getting arrested. My parents have been arrested already, both of them.
Oh, good for them. Well done.
Yeah, we're sort of a family of people that stand up.
Yeah.
But they got arrested, and then I decided that night that I'd get arrested on Monday. So it happened every Monday. There was a protest every Monday, and afterwards, to me it seemed like it was the thing I had to do. It was like not about, I don't know. It wasn't a time that I was like willing to be quiet.
Sure.
Even if it was about things that were inside of me, and it wasn't always necessarily about what other people were protesting. Like, I felt like I had things to protest, and I had things to like, I have a problem with what's going on in my state, and I have a problem with teenagers getting killed in public, and
you felt it.
Yeah, I felt it, and I was like, I have to go do this. And then afterwards, I had all these friends, and I think I live in a really progressive community anyway, but I think of my friends, especially my political type friends, as these like radicals, and some of them are, and some of them aren't. And I didn't realize that until afterwards, because people would be like, "Oh, so brave," and I just feel like it's part of my civic duty to be like as loud as I can be for other people. Like, if you're not amplifying other people's concerns, then I'm not sure like what you're doing.
Yeah. But that should be what society's about, shouldn't it? We should be standing up for the people.
I feel like I have the ability to stand up, and I think a lot of the people I'm around do too. And I had all these people say to me like, "Oh, I couldn't because of this, or I couldn't because of that." And
did that disappoint you? Did you feel let down by people you thought would have those principles?
I did, and I know, like, on some level, I realize it's not necessarily fair, because I work at a very progressive place. I knew I wasn't going to lose my job. I knew this, and then, it felt pretty secure. My family wouldn't be mad at me, because they would have been madder at me if I didn't get arrested than if I did. So it's easy for me to say that other people should have done more. But and 950 people were arrested in North Carolina last year during the legislative session.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So it was a mass civil disobedience movement. It's not like no one else did it, but
did it have an effect though? Do you think it's changed things?
I do. I think fusion politics in North Carolina, the ability of people to care about each other's issues, has been amplified immensely.
Yeah.
By the movement, by like recognizing, just kind of on a broad scale, recognizing that your concerns are the concerns of other people, and if you want people to get on your ship, you're gonna have to get on theirs, because there's no way to move forward, I don't think, without that. Like, if somebody else is concerned about coal ash spills in the Dan River, which they are in North Carolina, then I should probably be concerned about it too, in a bigger sense, but I should definitely be concerned about it in the sense that they're concerned about it. Like, they're part of my community, I should engage with that, at least, to the extent to learn enough about it that I can even talk about it.
So what's the result been in terms of you getting arrested in those protests?
Well, that's definitely been in the news a ton. So the legislators who have voted for these really conservative reforms, North Carolina didn't expand Medicaid, so lots of people don't have access to health insurance that they should have. Millions of people, and it's all over the country. Probably not millions in North Carolina, definitely thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, but I don't know. Anyways, I think the main thing about it that's happened already is attention, like negative legislative attention. So hurting people's chances of getting reelected is really all you can do once they've already been elected.
Okay.
It's gonna you're stuck for a while.
Okay.
You have to put up with them until their term is over, unless they do something that's really truly against the law or against the rules. And
but in terms of this person who got killed,
that's in Florida. Yeah, that was in Florida. So there were a ton of protests about that, and I think it's a big problem all over the country. I mean, there was a kid killed in North Carolina. He was a football player, and he was walking along the highway. His car broke down, and he was walking along the highway, and he knocked on someone's door, and the person opened the door and shot him dead right there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in Michigan, in Detroit, a girl had the same thing. Her car broke down, or she got in an accident, I think. And she was banging on someone's door asking for help, and they shot her and killed her. Because people...
I mean, for you, it's the gun control issue.
For me, gun control is really important. And that's the thing that hit home. In North Carolina, that's the thing that pushed me over the edge. I think for me in North Carolina, a lot of it's public health.
Okay.
Because I believe people have a right to health care, so I believe it's a human right, and people should be able to access the health care that they need, and I think our legislators don't believe that.
Okay.
And that's been...
It comes down to money,
really
doesn't it?
It does.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I think that's the point we get.
Well, they're always saying that, and I don't know if it comes down to that or if it comes down to it being difficult for people to care about people they don't understand. And I think, I don't know, but it does come down to money is, I think, what people point to. And I don't know, I have a sense that in even small ways, when you point to the system and you just go, it's the system, that's wrong.
Yeah.
If you can't come up with a better reason than that, you should stop doing what you're doing.
Sure.
So.
And what's your name?
My name's Hope.
Hope. Yeah. And what an apt name. What a totally apt name for the subject matter we've been discussing.
Thank you.
And whereabouts are you from yourself?
I'm from North Carolina. I was born in Durham.
Okay.
North Carolina. But raised in Wisconsin for a lot of the time, and then moved back to North Carolina, which is where my folks are from generations.
And what do your folks do? You were saying, because they sound really liberal, lovely people.
They're super, super liberal. They're college professors.
Oh, there you go. And what subjects?
My dad teaches African American Studies and writing at Duke.
Wow, I'd love to meet.
Yeah, you would. I think you'd get along.
Yeah.
But and my mom is a healthcare provider, which is I think part of the reason why the public health is so important to me.
Exactly.
Is I understand it so well because of her, and my whole life she's taught me that people deserve healthcare, and these things are okay, and these things are not okay, and
Yeah. So I think it's good. You've had great role models, wonderful parents. Yeah. No, I think the same with me. I think the bits where. In the core of me, my parents raised me to not be judgmental about anyone and to have principles. And so many people nowadays, which I'm seeing, is people are conveniently forgetting about that and the social responsibility we have, to everybody else.
The thing I see is that's so frightening is apathy.
Yes.
It's so frightening.
You should have seen the type of...
I'm 23, and the people that are around me are young people that can vote and have incredible energy and power, and I feel like people just kind of look at this giant monolith of the way things are, and they have no idea what to do, and they just feel freaked out by that. And
the other thing is just also in modern technology, it's just as long as they say something on Facebook, that's just good enough. It's chat about it and then forget about it, and
it's better than nothing, but it's not great.
No, and it's almost like I think there's the commercialization. What I've seen a lot of the angst here as well, and you're so refreshing actually, is that just sort of roped into the advertising they're sold and that lifestyle and stuff like that. So if anything rocks the boat, it's the sheep thing. If anything rocks the boat, then we'll stay clear of it, or we'll will do a bit of PR to seem cool, and like we like the issue or we're into the issue just because it's a cool thing to do, but there's no real meaning behind it.
I think people struggle to find ways to like get to things that are meaningful. You know, I mean, you asked me why, like, if it's had any effect that I got arrested.
Yeah.
And I think it has, but it's hard to know.
Yeah.
And I think that's something like, if you post something on Facebook, you see it right away. If you get arrested for civil disobedience, you know, you get charged with 3 misdemeanors, and you have to go to court and pay money, and it's a pain in the ass, and then you still don't see anything right away.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. You know, I mean, I in some ways empathize with people who have a hard time with it, who don't know how to get on board, because I feel like my parents showed me how to get on board, and they did it, and they're on board.
Because this is what I found. It's like, even with my story, I found it hard, unless it's got a star is involved, you know, directly someone big is involved. And I know there's big people behind it, but I don't know who they specifically are. The news don't want to know. And the other thing I've noticed as well, in many ways, there's a lot of control there about what gets in the news too. You know, a lot of where in the UK there's been a lot of stuff about the press being free and all this sort of stuff, and the reality of it is the government and people are more involved in the press than people understand. You know. And if you speak to any of the sort of big journalists, and we've seen interviews with some of the big journalists in the UK, one of them being Jeremy Paxman, and you actually listen to his real views in his interviews, and he's quite a cynic, because it's nothing really changes. We'll have people protest, you have riots, it's all about controlling the sheep and still status quo.